You know, in Nigerian real estate, there's one number that can make or break you: the price. It can be the difference between a massive success and a really costly failure. So today, we're going to unpack a strategic playbook that will help you master this critical piece of the puzzle and really thrive in what is one of Africa's most exciting property markets.
All right, let's kick things off with a question that I'm sure keeps a lot of investors up at night. Why on earth is pricing property in Nigeria so difficult? I mean, if you've ever felt that frustration, trust me, you are not alone. In a market where clear, reliable data is a luxury, you're basically playing by a whole different set of rules.
See, success here isn't about guesswork, and it's definitely not about just copying what the guy next door is doing. It's about mastering a strategic discipline. It's a powerful mix of art, science, and most importantly, deep local insight.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to tackle the Nigerian pricing puzzle itself. Then, we'll decode the absolutely crucial difference between value, cost, and price. After that, we'll dive into the three strategic pillars of analysis, explore the huge impact of risk and timing, touch on the psychology of price, and then finally, we'll wrap up with how to make pricing a continuous, winning part of your business.
Okay, so first up, let's really get a feel for the playing field. What are the unique forces at play that make pricing here in Nigeria such a high-stakes game?
Well, think about it. We're in a market where good data is hard to come by. Emotions often drive decisions, and speculation can be rampant. Then you add in the fact that the quality of infrastructure can literally change from one street to the next, and what you've got is a recipe for serious complexity. A simple formula just isn't going to cut it here.
To really crack this code, we have to master the fundamentals. And it all boils down to three incredibly important words: value, cost, and price.
Now, listen up, because this is probably the single biggest mistake sellers make. They mix up cost, that's what they spent, with value, which is what a buyer's actually willing to pay. They are not the same thing, and pricing your property based on your cost alone is a surefire recipe for disaster.
Let's break it down like this. Your cost, that's your spreadsheet, all your expenses. But their value, that's all about their perception of usefulness, of risk, of future potential. The price is just the point where you two meet in the middle. So what's the key takeaway? You have to start with the buyer's perception of value, not your own balance sheet.
So, the big question is, how do you actually figure out what a buyer values? Well, you need a toolkit. Let's look at the three strategic pillars that form the foundation of any truly successful pricing strategy.
Okay, here are the three core skills you need to have in your back pocket. You have to master the micro-location, pinpoint your specific buyer segment, and really interrogate the comparables. Let's dive into each one.
Pillar 1 is all about going beyond just the name of an area. True value is in the tiny details: the quality of the access road, the state of the drainage, how reliable the power supply is, even the reputation of that specific street. You can have two properties in the exact same district with wildly different prices, all because of these micro factors.
And that brings us to Pillar 2, market segmentation. You have to remember, the Nigerian market isn't just one single thing. An affordable housing buyer, they care most about flexible payments. A high net worth individual, they want exclusivity. A diaspora investor, they're looking for security and clear paperwork. Your price has to speak directly to the segment you're targeting. This leads us to Pillar 3. And guys, this is a huge warning. Do not just trust the prices you see on online listings. So many of those asking prices are just inflated. The real work, the hard work, is digging up verified transaction data to understand what things are actually selling for.
Okay, so we've got our analytical foundation in place. Now, let's layer on two more dynamic factors that are always changing: risk and timing.
You have to remember, buyers in Nigeria are always, and I mean always, pricing in risk. If the property title is a bit uncertain, that means a discount. If it has a perfected title, well, that commands a premium. The key here is to be honest. Assess your property's real risk profile and price it accordingly.
This is why your pricing strategy can't be set in stone. Think of your price as a living document, not some static number. You might offer discounts early on in a project's life, then slowly increase prices as the development itself lowers the risk. And you always have to be aware of the bigger picture, things like elections and policy changes that can shift the entire market.
All right, now for the really subtle but powerful part, the art of pricing psychology. This is all about how you frame the price to influence how people perceive it. Things like flexible payment plans, creating a sense of scarcity, or offering perceived discounts, these are all really powerful tools.
But, and this is a big but, you have to use them ethically. If you mislead buyers, you will absolutely destroy your brand's credibility in the long run.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together. How do we go from just making one-off pricing decisions to truly mastering an ongoing pricing strategy?
If there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Pricing is not a one-time task you just check off a list. It's an ongoing process of analysis, of listening to feedback, and of adapting. It's a core business function, really. So, here are the keys to success in a nutshell. Get professional valuations, actually listen to and act on real-time market feedback. Always practice ethical pricing, and above all else, stay agile and ready to adapt.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. When you really master these principles, pricing is no longer just a number you put on a flyer. It becomes your sharpest tool, your most powerful strategy, and maybe your strongest competitive advantage. I hope this helps you build yours.